The night was cold on the
time
moon
is
of
coming.
Sindari.
We move forward
The
together.
wind moves through the stone walls of the old palace like a ghost looking for something to haunt. Princess Queen Lyrith stood at her window and watched the stars. She had been watching them for 12 years now, ever since the Empire sent her away from the capital. They called it an honor, a gift, a beautiful moon for a beautiful princess. But Lyrith knew the truth. She was dangerous to someone powerful, and they wanted her far away where she could not cause trouble. So they gave her a moon made of rock and ice and told her to be grateful. She was not grateful. She was patient. There is a difference. In the room below her chambers, her daughter Aelith was sleeping. 7 years old, small hands, big dreams. She talked about going to the capital one day and seeing the great halls where her mother once walked. She did not know that those halls were full of people who wanted them both dead. Standing guard outside Aelith's door was Commander Marcus Vane, a human. The Empire did not think much of humans. They were useful for simple work and cheap protection. They lived short lives and died easily. That was what everyone believed. Marcus had served House Sindari for 12 years. Most human guardians lasted 3 or 4 years before the work broke them. But Marcus was different. He was quiet. He watched everything. He remembered everything. And he had a way of looking at danger that made danger want to look somewhere else. Lyrith trusted him completely. In the entire empire, he was the only one she trusted with her daughter's life. That trust was about to be tested. The attack came at midnight. 20 executors in black armor moved through the palace like shadows with knives. They killed the outer guards without a sound. They knew exactly where to go and what to do. Someone had paid them very well. Marcus heard them before he saw them. His human ears caught the sound of a footstep that was too careful, too quiet. Normal people made noise when they walked. People trying to kill you did not. He pressed the emergency signal on his wrist. Then he drew his weapon and waited. The first executor came around the corner fast. He expected to find a sleeping guard or an empty hallway. Instead, he found Marcus already moving. The fight lasted 2 seconds. The executor did not get up again. But there were 19 more. They came from both ends of the hallway. Plasma rifles, neural blades, shock grenades. They had enough firepower to destroy a small army. Marcus was one man with a standard-issue pistol and a knife. He smiled. It was not a happy smile. The first plasma bolt hit him in the shoulder. It should have knocked him down. Instead, he kept moving forward, firing as he went. 2 more executors fell. A neural blade cut across his back, opening a wound that would have killed most species in minutes. Marcus turned and broke the attacker's neck with his bare hands. They shot him again, and again. He kept fighting. Inside the room, little Aelith woke up to the sounds of violence. She was scared. She wanted to run. But Marcus had taught her what to do if this ever happened. Hide under the bed. Stay quiet. Do not come out until someone safe calls your name. She hid. She stayed quiet. She listened to the sounds of a man dying to keep her alive. The executors realized they had made a mistake. This human was not going down. Every time they shot him, he got back up. Every time they cut him, he cut them back harder. They had planned for a quick kill. They had not planned for this. 17 times they hit him with killing blows. 17 times he should have died. But humans have something that the Empire never understood. They have stubbornness written into their bones. They have survival coded into their blood. They do not stop just because they should. Marcus stood in the doorway of Aelith's room like a wall made of flesh and fury. His body was broken. His blood was everywhere. But he would not move. He could not move, because behind him was a little girl who trusted him to keep her safe. The last executor raised his weapon for the final shot. And then the palace guards finally arrived. Princess Queen Lyrath led them herself. She had grabbed a weapon and run toward the sounds of fighting, while everyone else ran away. When she saw the hallway, she stopped breathing. Bodies everywhere. Black armor, and blood, and silence. And in the middle of it all, Marcus Vane, still standing, barely. His eyes found hers across the carnage. "She is safe," he said. Then he fell. Lyrath ran to her daughter's room. Aelith was under the bed, crying but alive, not a single scratch. Marcus had blocked every angle of attack with his own body. He had taken every blow meant for this child. The doctors came. They looked at Marcus and shook their heads. No one could survive those wounds. His heart had stopped twice already. His organs were failing. He was dead. He just had not realized it yet. But Lyrath was a princess of the Empire. She had money, she had resources, and she had a rage inside her that could burn down worlds. "Save him," she told the doctors. "I do not care what it costs. I do not care what laws you have to break. Save him." They tried. They put him in a special chamber that kept his body frozen between life and death. Not alive, not dead, waiting. Lyrath held her daughter and watched the stars again. But she was not patient anymore. She was angry. Someone had sent those executors. Someone had tried to kill her child. And the only reason Aelith was still breathing was because a human man had refused to die. The Empire thought humans were weak. The Empire thought humans were disposable. The Empire was about to learn how wrong it was. Lyrath made a promise that night. She whispered it to the stars and to the frozen man in the chamber below. "They will pay for what they did, and you will be there to see it. I swear on my daughter's life. I swear on your blood. The Empire will remember this night, and they will learn to fear what they tried to destroy." The stars did not answer. But somewhere in the darkness, the universe was listening. 10 years passed. The universe changed, but some things stayed the same. Every day, Princess Aelith walked down to the chamber beneath the palace. Every day, she sat beside the glass container where Marcus Vane floated in blue liquid, his body covered in scars that told the story of one terrible night. And every day, she talked to him. She told him about her studies. She told him about the books she was reading. She told him about her mother's plans and her own dreams. She told him about her anger. "They tried to kill me when I was 7, she would say. "They sent 20 killers for a child, and you stopped them. You stopped all of them." The machines beeped. The blue liquid moved gently. Marcus did not respond. He had not responded for 10 years. But Aelith kept talking, because somewhere in that broken body she believed he could hear her, and she wanted him to know that his sacrifice meant something. Tall like her mother, sharp eyes like her father, whoever he had been, the Empire still did not take House Sindari seriously. They still thought Lyrath was a weak princess hiding on a forgotten moon. They were very, very wrong. In 10 years, Lyrath had built something new. She had reached out to human traders and mercenaries across the galaxy. She had made deals with species that the Empire considered beneath them. She had gathered information and weapons and soldiers. Not for war, not yet, but for survival. The Empire had tried to kill her daughter once. They would try again. Lyrath intended to be ready. Then the doctor arrived. His name was Samuel Chen. He was human, from the outer colonies where the Empire's control was weak. He had spent his whole life studying human biology, looking for ways to make his people stronger, faster, harder to kill. "I heard about the man in your chamber, the one who took 17 killing blows and refused to die. I want to see him." Lyrath was careful. She did not trust strangers, but something in Samuel's eyes told her that this man understood what Marcus had done. He understood what it meant. She took him to the chamber. Samuel looked at Marcus for a long time. He read the medical reports. He studied the scans. He saw wounds that should have killed any living creature in the galaxy. "He should be dead," Samuel said finally. "He is not dead," Lyreth replied. "He is waiting." Samuel nodded slowly. "I can bring him back. I have technology that the Empire does not know about. Regeneration, enhancement. But you need to understand something. The man who wakes up will not be the same man who fell. He will be more than human, more than anything the galaxy has ever seen." Aelith stepped forward. "Will he remember? Will he remember who he is? Will he remember us?" Samuel looked at the young princess. He saw the hope in her eyes, the need. "He will remember everything," Samuel said. "The process does not take memories away. It makes them stronger. Every moment of that night, every blow he took, every face he saw, he will remember all of it." "Then do it," Lyreth said. "Bring him back." The reconstruction took 3 months. Samuel worked day and night. He rebuilt Marcus piece by piece, bone by bone, cell by cell. The technology was beyond anything the Empire possessed. It was human technology, developed in secret, perfected in darkness. When it was finished, they waited. The chamber opened, blue liquid drained away, and Marcus Vane opened his eyes for the first time in 10 years. He looked different. The scars were still there, but they looked like marks of victory now, not wounds. His body was stronger, his movements faster. When he stood up, there was something in his presence that made the air feel heavy. His eyes found Aelith first. She was not a little girl anymore. She was a young woman who had grown up in the shadow of his sacrifice. He remembered a child crying under a bed. He saw a warrior standing tall. "You grew up," he said. His voice was rough, from 10 years of silence. "You came back," she replied. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. Lyreth stepped forward and told him everything. The attack, the 10 years of planning, the army she had built, the revenge she had promised. "The Empire tried to kill your daughter," Marcus said when she finished. "It was not a question. They tried. They failed. Because of you." Marcus looked down at his hands. They were the same hands that had killed 12 executors in one night. But now they were stronger. Now they could do so much more. "Who sent them?" he asked. "House Varanthos," she replied. "One of the most powerful families in the Empire. They wanted us dead because my mother was human. They could not accept that human blood ran in noble veins." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a man who had been given a second chance, and intended to use it. "They made a mistake," he said. "They shot me 17 times, and I am still here. They tried to kill a child, and she is still here. They thought they were sending a message, but the only message they sent was this: humans do not die when you tell them to." He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. The same stars Lyreth had watched on the night of the attack. The same stars that had witnessed his promise. 10 years, he said quietly. 10 years you kept me alive. 10 years you waited. "We needed you," Aelith said. She stood beside him, looking at the same stars. "The galaxy needs to see what happens when you hurt a human and he gets back up." Marcus put his hand on her shoulder, a gesture of protection, a gesture of family. "Then, let us show them," he said. "Let us show the entire Empire what reckoning looks like." In the chamber below, the machines went quiet. They had done their job. They had brought back something that the Empire thought it had destroyed. And now that something was coming for them. The Grand Convocation was the biggest political event in the Empire. Every noble house sent representatives. Every important decision was made there. Every alliance was formed, and every enemy was marked. House Sindari had been summoned to answer for irregularities in their trade agreements. Everyone knew what that really meant. It was a trap. The powerful houses wanted to humiliate Lyrith in public and remind her of her place. They expected her to come alone and afraid. They expected her to beg for forgiveness. They did not expect what actually walked through those doors. Lyrith entered the great hall, wearing armor beneath her royal dress. Behind her walked Aelith, now 18, with eyes that missed nothing, and beside them both, Marcus Vane. The hall went quiet. Many of the nobles had heard rumors about the human guardian who refused to die. Some had dismissed the stories as exaggeration. Now they saw him with their own eyes. Tall, scarred, moving with the easy grace of a predator who knew exactly how dangerous he was. Lord Varanthos sat at the high table with the other great lords. He was old and cruel, with scales the color of dried blood. He had ordered the attack on House Sindari 18 years ago. He had sent 20 executors to kill a child. When he saw Marcus, something flickered in his eyes. Fear. Just for a moment. Then it was gone, replaced by the arrogance of a creature who had never faced consequences for anything. "Princess Lyrith," he said, his voice dripping with false politeness, "how kind of you to join us. And you brought your pet human. How charming." The other nobles laughed. Humans were servants, animals. Bringing one to a formal gathering was like bringing a dog to a royal wedding. Lyrith smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Commander Vane is my chief of security," she said. "Given what happened the last time I was unprotected, I thought it wise to bring someone competent." The laughter stopped. Everyone remembered the night of the attack. Everyone remembered that House Sindari had survived when they should have been destroyed. The formal dinner began. Lyrith played her part perfectly. She was polite to her enemies and charming to potential allies. Aelith watched and learned. Marcus stood behind them like a statue made of muscle and bad intentions. Lord Varanthos could not stop looking at him. The human should be dead. He had seen the reports from that night. 17 killing blows. No creature in the galaxy could survive that. But here he was, standing, watching, waiting. The trap was sprung during the third course. The doors burst open, and 30 executors in black armor marched into the hall. The same unit that had attacked House Sindari. Varanthos had kept them close for years, waiting for another chance. "Princess Lyrith," Varanthos announced, standing from his chair. "You are under arrest for treason against the Empire. Surrender peacefully, and your death will be quick." The other nobles pulled back, making room. Some were surprised, some were not. Politics in the Empire was a bloody business. Lyrith did not move. Aelith did not move. Marcus did not move. 30 executors, Marcus said quietly. His voice carried across the silent hall. "Last time you sent 20. Did you think 10 more would make a difference?" Varanthos laughed. "You got lucky once, human. Luck does not last forever." "No," Marcus agreed, "it does not." Then he moved. The nobles had never seen a human fight without restrictions. In the Empire, humans were kept weak, controlled, collared. They were not allowed to show what they were truly capable of. Marcus had no collar anymore. He hit the first executor before anyone could react. The armor cracked. The body flew across the room. Before it landed, Marcus was already killing the second one. The executors opened fire. Plasma bolts filled the air. Neural blades hummed with deadly energy. They threw everything they had at this one human. It was not enough. Marcus moved through them like a storm through paper. He did not dodge the attacks. He walked through them. Plasma bolts hit his body, and he kept moving. Blades cut his flesh, and he kept fighting. He was not a man anymore. He was a force of nature. In 60 seconds, it was over. Marcus stood in the center of the hall, surrounded by 30 broken executors. He was bleeding from a dozen wounds. He did not seem to notice. His eyes found Lord Varanthos across the room. 17 times, Marcus said. That is how many killing blows I took the night you sent them to murder a child. I counted, I remembered, and I have been waiting 10 years to return them. The hall was completely silent. The most powerful nobles in the empire watched a human stand victorious over their best killers. Everything they believed about humanity was collapsing around them. Lyreth stepped forward. Her voice rang out across the carnage. House Sindari demands the right of answered blood. This is an ancient law that even the Empire cannot ignore. Someone ordered the assassination of my daughter. I want a name. Give me the name, or we will find them ourselves, and we will not be gentle about it. No one spoke. No one dared. Lyreth looked at Varanthos. He looked back at her with hate burning in his eyes, but he said nothing. Admitting guilt now would mean death. Very well, Lyreth said. We will do this the hard way. Aelith followed her. Marcus walked backward, keeping his eyes on the room, making sure no one tried anything stupid. At the door, Aelith stopped and looked back at the assembled nobles. My mother asked you a question, she said. You have 1 month to answer it. After that, Commander Vane will start asking, and he is not as polite as we are. They left. Behind them, the Empire realized that something had changed. The humans they had dismissed and enslaved and ignored had produced something new. Something that refused to die. Something that remembered every wound and intended to repay them all. The story spread like fire across the galaxy. A human had destroyed 30 executors in open combat. A human had stood in front of the Empire's greatest nobles and made them afraid. A human had looked at their most powerful weapons and laughed. In the slave camps and the labor colonies, humans whispered to each other. In the servant quarters of noble houses, they shared the news in secret. In the mines and the factories and the ships, they passed the story from mouth to mouth. His name was Marcus Vane. He had taken 17 killing blows and refused to die. He had come back stronger, and now he was fighting for them. For the first time in centuries, humans across the Empire began to hope. House Sindari became the center of something new. Lyreth opened her doors to any human who wanted to escape their chains. Aelith organized networks to smuggle people out of the worst labor camps. Marcus trained those who wanted to fight. Patient but demanding. He pushed his students hard, because he knew what they would face. The Empire thinks we are weak, he told them. They think we break easily. They are wrong. Humans do not break. We bend, we adapt, we survive, and when we fight back, we do not stop until the job is finished. The students nodded. They had all lost someone to the Empire. Family, friends, lovers. They all had reasons to fight. Word reached Lord Varanthos about what was happening on the moon of Sindari. He was furious. His assassination attempt had failed badly. Now his enemies were growing stronger, while he grew weaker. He decided to change tactics. If he could not kill House Sindari directly, he would destroy everything around them. The attacks began 1 month after the Grand Convocation. Varanthos sent his forces against human settlements across the sector. Villages were burned. Families were separated. Anyone suspected of supporting House Sindari was arrested or killed. It was meant to be a message. Support the rebels and die. But the message had the opposite effect. Every atrocity sent more humans running to Sindari. Every death created 10 new fighters. Every act of cruelty proved that the Empire deserved to fall. Aelith traveled across the sector in disguise, meeting with human communities and organizing resistance. She was good at this work. She understood humans in a way that no pure-blooded alien noble ever could, because she had grown up loved by one. Marcus had been there for every important moment of her childhood. Her first steps, her first words, her first fight. He was not her father, but he had been something just as important. A protector, a teacher, a friend. Now she protected him back. When he pushed himself too hard, she made him rest. When the weight of memory became too heavy, she sat with him in silence. They did not need words. They understood each other. "Why did you do it?" she asked him one night. They were sitting on the palace roof, watching the stars. That night, you could have run. You could have saved yourself. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "When I took this job," he said finally, "they told me I was protecting something not worth protecting. A minor noble, a useless house, nothing important. But when I saw you, I knew they were wrong." Aelith said, "I was 7. I was just a child." "You were hope," Marcus replied. "The Empire looks at humans and sees tools, animals, things to be used and thrown away. But you looked at me and saw a person. Your mother trusted me with your life. That meant something. It still means something." Aelith leaned against his shoulder, the same shoulder that had taken a plasma bolt for her 18 years ago. "We are going to bring down Varanthos and everyone who supported him." "Yes," Marcus agreed. "We are." The campaign against House Varanthos began the next day. Marcus led strike teams against their military installations. He hit supply depots, communication centers, weapons factories. Each attack was precise and devastating. He never killed anyone who surrendered, but he made sure everyone knew who was coming for them. Lyreth used her political connections to isolate Varanthos from his allies. One by one, the other noble houses pulled away. They had seen what happened at the Grand Convocation. They did not want to be next. Aelith freed prisoners from Varanthos labor camps. She gave them a choice: go home or join the fight. Most of them joined. They had nothing left to lose. The rebellion grew larger every day. What had started as one house seeking justice became a movement that spanned the sector. Humans who had lived as slaves for generations suddenly remembered that they had once been free, and they wanted that freedom back. Lord Varanthos watched his empire crumble. His allies abandoned him. His soldiers deserted. His wealth disappeared. Everything he had built over centuries was falling apart because of one human who refused to die. He received a message one morning. It contained an image: Marcus standing in the ruins of the Varanthos military base, surrounded by freed human prisoners. The caption was simple: "I remember your executors. I remember every blow. I am coming to return them all." Varanthos stared at the image for a long time. Then he began to make preparations. If they wanted a war, he would give them one. He would destroy his own world before he let a human take it from him. The final battle was coming, and neither side intended to lose. The fortress world of House Varanthos floated in space like a monument to power. It was massive, heavily armed, and protected by the best defenses money could buy. For 500 years, no enemy had ever breached its walls. That record was about to end. The assault came at dawn. A fleet of ships emerged from hyperspace, carrying thousands of fighters who had never been free until now. Humans from labor camps and slave colonies, species the Empire had dismissed and ignored. All of them united by a single purpose: justice. Marcus led the ground assault. He moved through the fortress like a ghost made of violence. The defenders tried to stop him. They failed. They tried to slow him down. They failed at that too. Nothing could stand in his way. Behind him came Lyreth's soldiers, taking control of each section as Marcus cleared it. The battle was fierce, but one-sided. Varanthos had spent his power destroying human villages. He had not saved enough to defend himself. Deep inside the fortress, Lord Varanthos watched the monitors with growing terror. His fleet was scattered. His army was broken. His world was falling. And the human was coming. Varanthos retreated to his command center, the most secure room in the entire fortress. There, hidden beneath the floor, was a device he had built for exactly this moment. A bomb powerful enough to destroy the entire planet and everyone on it. If he could not win, no one would. He activated the countdown and waited. 2 hours until detonation. Enough time to watch his enemies realize they had won nothing. But he had forgotten about the princess. Aelith found him first. She had learned the fortress layout from stolen blueprints, and moved through secret passages that Varanthos thought only he knew about. When she stepped into the command center, he was almost impressed. "You are brave," he said. "Just like your human pet." "He is not my pet," Aelith replied calmly. "He is my family." Varanthos laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Family, you sound like one of them now. Is that what happens when you let animals raise your children? They forget what they are." Aelith did not react to the insult. She had heard worse. She would hear worse again. Words were weapons, and she had learned not to let them cut her. "You activated the self-destruct," she said. "I know. I watched you do it through the security cameras." Varanthos smiled. "Then you know that you have already lost. In 2 hours, this world burns. Your rebellion dies with it. Your precious humans die with it. And you die with it too." "Maybe," Aelith said. "Or maybe I can change your mind." She stepped closer. No weapons, no guards. Just a young woman facing a monster who had tried to kill her twice. "You hate humans," she said. "You hate them because they scare you. You look at them, and you see something that should not exist. A species that refuses to die. A species that survives everything you throw at them. A species that gets back up no matter how many times you knock them down." Varanthos said nothing, but she could see the truth in his eyes. "I was 7 years old when you sent your executors to kill me. 7. I was a child who had never hurt anyone. And you wanted me dead because my grandmother was human, because human blood runs in my veins." She held up her hand. It looked just like any other hand. 5 fingers, soft skin, nothing special. "This is what scares you," she said. "Not our weapons, not our armies. This, the fact that we are everywhere, the fact that you cannot destroy us, the fact that every time you try, we come back stronger." Marcus appeared in the doorway. He was covered in blood, most of it not his own. His eyes found Aelith first, making sure she was safe. Then they moved to Varanthos. "The countdown," Marcus said. "Can you stop it?" "I could," Varanthos replied, "but I will not. You will all die here, and the galaxy will remember that humans can be destroyed just like anything else." Marcus walked toward him. Slow, steady, unstoppable. "I challenge you," Marcus said. "The right of combat. One fight. If I win, you stop the countdown. If you win, I die and you go free." Varanthos stared at him. The right of combat was ancient law. Even in the Empire, it was sacred. No noble could refuse without losing everything. "You are already dying," Varanthos said, looking at Marcus's wounds. "You can barely stand. Then it should be easy for you." Marcus picked up a neural blade from a fallen guard and threw it at Varanthos's feet. "Fight me." The old lord looked at the blade. He looked at Marcus. He saw the wounds that should have killed this human 10 times over. He saw the blood and the pain and the exhaustion. And beneath all of it, he saw something that terrified him. Will. Pure, unstoppable will. The same thing that had kept Marcus alive 18 years ago. The same thing that had brought him back from death. The same thing that made humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They did not know how to give up. Varanthos picked up the blade. The fight lasted exactly 30 seconds. Varanthos was old, but he was trained. He was skilled. He had killed many enemies in combat. None of them had been Marcus Vane. When it was over, Varanthos lay on the floor with his own blade at his throat. The countdown showed 45 minutes remaining. "Stop it," Marcus said. Now. Varanthos entered the code with trembling fingers. The countdown stopped. The planet would survive. The rebellion would continue. Kill me, Varanthos whispered. Get your revenge. That is what this was all about. Marcus looked down at the creature who had caused so much pain. The being who had tried to murder a child. Who had killed thousands. Who had made humans suffer for centuries. No, Marcus said. Death is too easy for you. You will live. You will watch your empire fall. You will see humans walk free across the galaxy, and you will remember this moment for the rest of your life. The moment a human stood over you and chose to let you live. Not because you deserved it, but because we are better than you. He stepped back. Lyrith's soldiers entered and took Varanthos away. Aelith stood beside Marcus. They watched through the window as the sun rose over a world that was finally free. Is it over? She asked. This battle is over, Marcus replied. But there is still work to do. The Empire is large. The fight for freedom will take time. Then we keep fighting. We keep fighting. Lyrith joined them at the window. Her daughter on one side, her champion on the other. Her family. The galaxy is watching, she said. What do we tell them? Marcus thought about it. He thought about the night 18 years ago when he had stood in a doorway and refused to fall. He thought about the little girl who had grown into the woman beside him. He thought about all the humans who had suffered and survived and fought back. Tell them the truth, he said finally. Tell them that humans do not stay down. Tell them that we remember everything done to us. Tell them that if they hurt one of us, they hurt all of us. And tell them this. The Empire's reckoning has just begun. The sun rose higher. A new day was starting. And somewhere in the galaxy, humans who had been slaves for generations heard the news and began to hope. The story was not over, but for the first time in centuries, the ending was theirs to write.